Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen, and I am your host. And today we have a very special guest, Kyle Stout, who is the founder of Elevate and Scale, a leading email marketing agency that helps direct-to-consumer brands unlock hidden revenue and put their sales on autopilot. Welcome to the podcast, Kyle.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for joining me. And today, we've got a hot topic that hasn't gone away. A lot of people thought it was going to go away, email. We're going to be talking about email marketing. But, as we're going to get into it, we're going to quickly see that it's here to stay. And I think it's probably bigger than ever. So really excited to talk to you about that and to see what strategies that you're going to be able to provide our listeners and viewers that will be practical for their businesses. But before we do get into all of that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background and specifically how you got into what you're doing today?
Okay, yeah. So I started as a freelance copywriter back in 2013. And really, I was just doing sales copy for businesses' websites and doing a lot more on the blogging side as well. So blogging kind of tied to SEO. And as I started just taking on more copywriting projects from clients, email marketing being one of those things, over time, I found that I enjoyed email marketing, but it was one of the areas where I was seeing the best results for clients and the most consistent results. So when I went to then start an agency, I knew that that had to be the core service that I was going to offer. Originally, I actually wanted to offer different services, a wide variety of services and try to be the all-in-one solution. And I quickly realized that it's difficult to be great at everything. And I pretty quickly just dialed back and honed in just on email marketing. And so we've been focusing on that ever since 2019. So email marketing and SMS. And we do a little bit of other stuff as that's related to that, like helping people develop their rewards programs and basically, little other retention marketing strategies that are really driven through email marketing that just might go a little bit beyond email marketing.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And it sounds like you've got kind of been in it for a little while and kind of know the landscape of things, which is, this is always a good thing for sure. With, the rise, everybody knows that there's like 1,000,001 marketing channels, that you can advertise and market your business in. And so with the rise of all of these different digital channels, why do you think email marketing still remains as just like the main pivotal D2C? It may remain pivotal for D2C brands, and and what are some key metrics that a brand should use to track the success of email marketing campaigns?
Yeah, so a couple of reasons why a lot of business owners love email marketing is it tends to be very cost effective. It tends to be very consistent from month to month, but one thing that I think business owners should also consider, especially now with the rise of social media and everything else, is that one of the nice benefits of email marketing is that you have a channel where you have direct access to your customers and leads, where you can communicate with them directly on a platform you own, as opposed to a social media channel where you might spend a bunch of time and money building up a big following, and then you get to where even the people who are following you don't see all of your posts, and you have to pay for them just to see, your own followers to see your posts. And I like that. I think that is something that business owners, if they neglect email marketing for a while, it's one of their big regrets. They didn't build their email list sooner, because if they have an announcement, whether it's sales driven or not, if it's just something they need to get out to their community, then email again is the quickest, most direct way to get that message out. And of course, it's also just great for driving sales. And then as far as metrics to track, so of course you want to track your engagement metrics like opens and clicks. But really for me, it's, revenue is the most important thing for the business. And so I think that people, a lot of times they'll do some email blasts and they look at how much revenue that generated. But I like to look at different areas of the revenue with email. So for example, looking at first high level of just the total percentage of revenue that you get from email every month. And so with e-commerce, the gold standard is 30%. So if you are generating 30% or more of your total revenue from email, then you're doing a pretty good job with email. And you can really actually push that up to 40, 50% plus. So, which is what most of our clients are at right now. And so that's a sign of a really strong, healthy sales channel that's very cost effective compared to your other sales channels. But then also when you're looking at revenue, I like to, from month to month, track revenue of the different automated flows that you have, because a lot of times these things can indicate what's going on. So for example, like if you notice a big change in the revenue from your welcome series and you're running ads, then that might indicate that something changed with the quality of the traffic that's coming into your site. If the majority of your traffic is coming from ads. So yeah, it's not just like looking at total revenue. It's looking at, okay, what's the revenue from flow to flow and where do those tie into the sales process? And then also with campaigns, it's, we're always trying to test different angles and different offers and looking at, okay, which things produced more sales. And you can go into the report and look at, because sometimes those things can be misleading, because you might have done an email about one particular product, but then most of the sales came from a completely different product from that email, because when people got on the site, they just found their way to the other product. And if you haven't done an email about that one, that's a good indication that, we need to do something, around that particular product. But also it's just, again, from month to month, looking at those different angles, whether it's the messaging angle or the offer that was being promoted in the email. And over time, finding those winners and finding new ways to talk about those same products, or new ways to maybe promote a different product or collection using a similar type of messaging angle based on what worked and what didn't work from the months prior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, really, like you said, it's really just kind of all about studying those metrics and seeing, kind of where people are going, and then with your campaigns, you really have to really decide what's your goal, I guess, with the particular campaign, because a lot of times, like, main metric, of course, is going to be increase in revenue, increase in sales, but that doesn't necessarily have to always be the goal. It could just be raising awareness about a certain product line, not necessarily increasing the sales, but maybe you're trying to warm people up towards a new feature or a new product line. And it could be done just by, and you can analyze the results of that just by, views of a page, how long people are on that page after they've come from the email campaign, how many times do they come back to it? So yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do to examine this, to determine the success of it. Mm-hmm. Now, what would you say are your top strategies for just organically building an email list? And, once you have a list built, how would you recommend segmenting it for personalization and just getting the maximum impact of that particular campaign?
Yeah, so the first thing is you want to have some sort of offer to get people on the list, because just trying to get people to sign up for exclusive content or the things that people would say in the past, it's just not enough to get people to sign up nowadays. So with e-commerce, what I find to work best are incentives that are tied to that first purchase, whether it's a discount or free shipping or a free gift, something like that. And once you have that, now you want to actually let people know about it. So of course you can have the pop-up on the site, but assuming you're posting on social media and doing everything else, you want to actually make that, you want to bring it up pretty often. You want to make it easy for people to sign up. I think that's a big thing that people neglect is on their social media, especially in the e-commerce space. They're not really doing much to build their email list straight from social media. A lot of times it's just focused on sending people to the website or to a specific product page. And that's a great way to get people in and then use that welcome series to nurture them and to get that first sale. Another thing that I've seen that's been working really well over the last couple of years for some brands we work with are doing different collaborations with other brands. And I will say that the one caveat here, though, is that those other brands, their products need to complement your products. Because I have seen this where people they will do these like joint venture giveaways and different things, and they get several thousand people added to their list, and those people just don't care. They just weren't interested. They were only there for the big free giveaway prize or whatever. But what I have seen work better is when, let's say, 2 brands or 3 brands where the product. So for example, we have a brand, one of the companies we work with, they sell roses, like bouquets of roses. And then they did a collaboration with another company that sold rose plants. And so this is, the products don't overlap enough, but there's clearly a very strong tied interest between the two. The people who are into growing roses are also into buying roses just to have in their house and to give away as gifts. And so that one worked really well. And I've seen the same thing otherwise, where brands have some sort of crossover in their audiences. And again, that's a great way to get people on the list. But then once you've got them on the list and you're talking about, how can you personalize more? So that's where I like to use a lot of segmentation. So for one, with your automated flows, you can have those set up to, where you have behavior that they do, whether it's, viewing a specific product or adding a product to cart. You can have all of those automations set up. But on the campaign side, this is where you can really do a lot with segmentation. So by first creating these different segments, and some of the types of segments I would recommend creating would be engagement-based segments. So this would be like a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day engagement group. And what that means is that those people have opened or clicked an email, or I also like to include as a rule in there that they've visited the site within the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever timeframes you want to work with. Those would be your engagement segments. And the thinking there is that the more engaged people are, the more emails they want to get from you. And the more you would include them in a wider variety of emails. As people start to get less engaged, and let's say they haven't opened or clicked an email in 90 days, now you're not going to want to include them in all the emails, because they have either they're just not interested at all, or they've kind of gotten to a point where they need a little break. And I would reserve emails for them as being like the big announcements. So a new product launch, a big sale, those kind of things. And then for other types of segments, I like to do customer lifecycle segments. So segmenting your leads, your one-time customers, your repeat customers, and your VIP customers, and then giving them different offers based on their purchase history. So with VIPs, giving them early access to promotions, or giving them early access to exclusive offers, or giving them specifically exclusive offers that are only for them. And you can also do product interest segments. I mean, you can do a wide variety of segments. You can segment based on location. You can segment based on gender. But the thinking here is that when you have these different groups, is that one, you want to cater the content to the group in that segment. So that way you're speaking more specifically to them and the email feels more personalized for them. But the other thing that this allows you to do is it allows you to, over time, let's say in a 30-day period, send more emails without sending every email to everyone on your list. So you're able to get more messages out there. They're more personalized. You're hopefully able to generate more sales, but you're not just constantly hammering your list with emails while you're doing that. So that's a great strategy for scaling up the campaign side of your email marketing sales channel. Again, while protecting email deliverability, protecting unsubscribe rates, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. That is a key strategy because you would think that, and a lot of brands think that, you got to hammer your list. You got to consistently mail, every week, a couple times a week. But then, you're definitely running the risk of increasing your unsubscribe rate. You're running the risk of, people marking you as spam, ending up, on some spam lists and that type of thing. So, yeah, I see by just separating it into those different segments, yeah, you can actually increase, like you said, the volume of the people that you're sending out to. You're just doing it to different groups of people. So essentially, you're still sending a lot of emails. It's just not going to the same people every time. It's just different sets of people, which, yeah, definitely makes sense, for sure. I think it's just a lot of times, me personally, dealing with other e-commerce businesses, when you talk about segmenting, people kind of a little antsy because they're like, oh, okay, what is it going to take for me to segment the list? Is it a huge process? But the good thing is that with all of these tools that are available, such as like the Klaviyo's of the world and some of these other email marketing and email automation tools, they make it fairly easy to create a segmented list and then create multiple campaigns and variations of the same campaign where you're able to kind of clone. Let's say you have an initial email, but you want it to be the base of it the same, but just slightly different, tailored for a certain group. You can just clone that, make those changes, and just easily set up those, those campaigns within the same system. So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
good to know you can
that's
do
really
that.
important because it sounds complicated and it's really not. If you don't know how to do it, for most, if you're an e-commerce business and you're using Klaviyo or Drip or one of the others, you're
Yeah,
probably 1 5-minute YouTube video away from,
yeah,
or article on their site
yeah.
from figuring it out. And it's not, like you said, it's way more approachable than people think. It's just
Mhm.
sitting down to do it. And once you start, so if your email tool doesn't have a segmentation feature, a lot of times they'll have something called a smart list. So creating a smart list, or you can at least tag people. You can tag contacts in your email list. That's like the most basic level of how you can start to do segmentation by tagging people when they click links or different things. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really not as complicated as it seems. And I think it actually makes email marketing easier because one of the hard parts for people is coming up with new ideas. And
Mhm.
when you're writing to a more specific audience, to me, it makes it a little easier because now it just narrows down the options of what we could say in this email in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, good to know. I think one of the things that a lot of businesses struggle with when it comes to the content of these emails and an email marketing campaign is really a balance of value, promotional materials, and of course you want to promote your products and services. That's kind of the main goal, and people are excited to do that. But then also you got to provide value. So I mean, how do you balance value, promotional content versus value driven content in these emails? And what would you say are some elements that you found most effective in creating high converting emails for D2C brands?
Okay, so the first thing is just to consider the context of, when someone's receiving this email, who's receiving it. So, for example, if we're dealing with abandonment automated emails like the browse abandonment, abandoned checkout, those kind of emails. Now, these people are active in the sales process. They're just they just need a little nudge to move forward because they've already started shopping. They've likely already started the checkout process. So you can be a little bit more promotional than you would in, let's say, the average email that you send out because you know that they're just right there. They just need that little nudge.
Mm-hmm.
In other cases, with flows like the welcome series or the post-purchase flow, those flows is going to be kind of a catch-all where the interest level of buying right now is going to be different for everyone who's in that flow. Once I get through those, like let's for example with the welcome series, we're trying to get that first sale in those first 3-4 emails as we're introducing the brand, we're introducing the unique value props, we're introducing the products, things like that. As we go further along in that flow, I start to implement more of an every other email cadence where every other email is purely value driven, and then the one after will be a little bit more promotional. and the one after will be a lot more value driven, and then so on. And I do that in some of the longer flows. Now, for the campaigns that you're sending out, unless it's a new product launch or a holiday sale or something, I like to combine both in all the emails for the most part. So meaning that
Mhm.
the email provides some level of value, and you don't have to be super salesy with the call to action. So, for example, if you are selling, let's say you're selling supplements, right, and you're targeting a segment of people who are interested in fat loss, you can just have an email that's all about certain tips for losing fat, or certain tips for shopping for affordable organic groceries, something specific and something useful. And then at the end of the email, you would tie in a product that's most relevant to the message of the email, and you have a nice call to action area. And so that's
Mhm.
a way where, for the people who weren't in the market to buy today, they at least got something interesting or useful out of the email. And it keeps them engaged, keeps them wanting to open future emails, even if they weren't going to buy today. And then for the people who are in the market to buy right now, you've provided a lot of value for them, and you've hopefully had a nice segue into the offer to where it's just a no-brainer for them to go ahead and make that purchase right now. So that's I would say that's my go-to approach for combining both. We're trying to I call it having a reason to show up in their inbox. So like
Mhm.
the main message of the email is something that we've decided would be interesting or useful, or entertaining, or something like that, that goes beyond the sale. But then we always tie in a relevant angle for anyone who is in the market to buy, to make it easy for them to buy right now. And then so a few things that, because you were asking about things that people can do for high converting emails, a few things that I would say to include in this. These can go in really any emails, whether they're flows or campaigns. But these are things that will that are really not salesy, but they will help increase sales. Would be I like to tackle objection busters. So having FAQs. So if you're talking about a specific product, include some FAQs in the email itself, so that way they don't even have to go to the product page to get that information, and it just helps ease their concerns. Customer reviews are huge. We like to use customer reviews and UGC really often. Actually, we like to use those in more emails than we don't. And then also, one that we do with certain brands that has gotten a really positive response from people is uh, like offering customer support. So if you sell products that are a little bit more complicated, so for example, we work with a company that sells custom parts for motorcycles, and a big concern for people is this going to fit my bike? Is this going to be difficult to install? Is this the actual the right part, and all these different things? And so with them, we're very upfront of giving the support email and the support phone number, and really like encouraging them, hey, call us. Our guys, all the guys in our shop, they ride these bikes, they build these bikes all the time, they know what they're doing, they want to help. Of course, you have to have a team that like wants to deal with the extra customer service if you're going to do that. But that's something that where people
Right.
have responded very favorably. They think it's because it
Mhm.
stands out. A lot of companies aren't being that aggressive about inviting customer service requests. And so
Mhm.
again, the sale becomes really easy because they wanted the part and they just had some concerns about it. They get on the phone with one of the guys in the shop, and then they make the sale, or they make the purchase right there on the phone.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I can see how that's, just kind of highlighting those things or something that can make your campaign just stand out, amongst others. And we're definitely going to kind of get those click throughs, a little bit higher. Now, when we're thinking about these emails where you're getting people opted in, whether it's various places of the website, whether it's from your social media, and these are the regular life cycle emails where you're trying to bring someone from the bottom of the funnel to the top of the funnel and eventually to the sale. You mentioned some key high converting emails, but is there one essential email automation that you think like every e-commerce brand should have when it comes to those type of full life cycle emails?
Well, there's three that I would say you have to have.
Okay.
And I want to, so The welcome series is probably the most essential because that's the one that people are going to opt into whenever they sign up on your site for the first time. But most businesses will at least have one email going for that. Abandoned checkout is also essential
Mhm.
because people can opt in through the two-step order form on your site, whereas they can't opt in through abandoning their cart or doing browse abandonment. They have to already be on your list to get those. So that's another one that you want to have sooner rather than later. But one
Mhm.
that I think gets a little bit overlooked is the post-purchase flow. This
Mhm.
is the flow that people get after they've made their purchase. And what I like to do with this flow is, so people will typically have, a thank you email, and maybe they'll follow up with some other emails that, encourage them to make another purchase. Well, this one, I like to customize it to where when for the first purchase, the second purchase, and a third purchase, and sometimes we even go beyond that, but a lot of times we're really
Mhm.
looking at those first three purchases, and
Yep.
just considering where they are when they receive these, and how would you want to tailor the message, or what are the logical next purchases for them. So for example, if you, let's say you have 10 products and one product tends to drive the majority of sales for new customers, then that, okay, in that post purchase flow for a new customer, of course you want to thank them and all of that, and you can also add in things like review request and UGC request. Those are things that are really useful for you, but then you also want to include some educational emails on some of the other products that maybe they are not the thing that the customer wanted up front, but they're the things they actually need. And so they
Yeah.
bought the thing that they wanted. Now you're educating them on the other things that they need. And that's where you can. So our goal is, when we're looking at these different customer groups, is we're trying to get people to go from leads to VIPs over time. We're trying to get them
Yeah.
to make that first purchase, that second purchase, and down the line until however that company defines their VIPs, which is
Yeah.
usually based around a dollar amount they've spent, or based on an amount of purchases they've made.
Mhm.
So that's a really important flow. A lot of times people, again, they just have a thank you email and a review request in there, and
Mhm.
it's pretty common to see people customize for the new customer and then the returning customer, but not to go down specifically to the number of purchases, to where the person who made their third or fourth purchase isn't getting the exact same emails that the people who made their second purchase are, because for one, they've probably seen those emails already now, and for
Yep.
two, by the time someone makes a fourth purchase from you, or a third purchase, I mean, this person, like, they're very familiar with your brand. So you can talk to them very differently. You can talk to them like they're a friend. You don't have to
Mhm.
educate them on, all of the things about your brand that set you guys apart. Now it's actually, they're a more advanced customer. So you can get a little bit more advanced with
Mhm.
them with how you talk about your products. And that just goes back to the whole personalization piece. And the more you can personalize for those life cycles, the more enjoyable it is for them to get those emails, and the easier it is for them to buy from you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, those are some great examples, and I can definitely see how those are sometimes overlooked, but they should be a part of anybody's kind of automations for sure. Well, Kyle, as we get ready to wrap things up, I wanted to see, how do you envision just the future of email marketing, in general, for D2C brands over just the next 5 years? And, are there any strategies that you would say that a brand should adopt now, just to kind of stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, so I don't know if will totally be here in 5 years, but the future that I envision for email marketing is hyper personalized. So, we're doing a lot of things now to try to personalize emails as much as we can. So, like, we've talked about segmentation and personalizing the content, but with the advancements in AI and just the insane amount of data that's out there that's being collected by all the different tech software we use and the websites we visit, I think we will get to a place in the future where emails can be personalized to the individual, meaning that whenever you send out an email to, let's say, 5,000 people, that
Hmm.
the copy in the email and the products being promoted in the email, like, let's just say you pick a theme for the email, and then the copy and the products being promoted will be tailored specifically to that individual person, based
Yeah.
on all the different things, like where they're shopping all across the internet, not just what they're doing with your website, right? And so knowing that this person has bought these in the last 3 months, has bought these 10 different products from, these 6 different companies, the AI would be able to have a much clearer profile of, okay, what is this person really interested in? Who are they? I think that's where we're going to get to. I don't know if it will be in 5 years though. But that to me is also what we should be striving for as email marketers as well. So trying to personalize emails more. So some things to start doing now would be leveraging segmentation if you're not doing that already. Start tracking the behavior of your contacts more. So setting up more automations to tag them whenever they click specific links or when they visit certain pages. And again, a lot of these can be set up where you have segments that track these things. In Klaviyo, there's a cool feature where you can do an engagement report of your segments. And so you just click this button and it generates a report, and it will show you the engagement for that segment. It'll show their open rates, their click rates. It'll show you how long they've been on your list. It will show you their average order value. So these are things where if you're doing engagement reports on your leads and your one-time customers and your VIP customers and all that, you can get an idea of, okay, how long are people on my list before they become a one-time customer or a repeat customer or a VIP customer, and how much are they spending? So now we can craft the offers for these different segments based around how much they're already spending and things like that. So it's not, this requires more work on our part to do these things, but we are, manually getting to where we are reaching that personalization that I think we're going to get to it's going to be much easier to do in the future. Yeah. But by doing that, again, it's all about, you want people to continue engaging with the emails, because the longer they stay on there and the more they open, they are eventually going to buy and make repeat purchases. So we want to make this enjoyable for people to receive your emails. So then the more you personalize it, and the more you are really trying to understand them and you're tracking their behavior, the easier it's going to be on your part to make those emails more personalized and make it an enjoyable experience for people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely well said. I totally agree with you. This hyper personalization is where it does seem like everything is headed, because of the rise of all of this data and because of us being able to get access to the data, on top of the AI tools being able to associate all of these large data sets with an individual user. So yeah, I definitely see that's where it's at. And you really truly being able to target people that have interest down to a really specific granular level that will coincide with your products, the needs that customer has, and the benefits that your product will provide that customer. So yeah, I can definitely see it. That's really where everything is going, for sure. Well, Kyle, this has been an awesome discussion. I've loved talking to you about this email marketing, because as we see, it's there's just we're kind of a ways with email marketing. It's been around for a long time. It's definitely here to stay, and it's just really only going to grow and just mature as time moves on in the kind of whole world of digital marketing. Now, lastly, before we do let you go, I'm always interested to know, for our audience to get to know you just a little bit better. So if you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know.
Yeah, well, so one thing that came to mind is I used to do online fitness coaching. So I have a lot of it's funny because I enjoy email marketing, and a lot of times people talk about doing everything that you're passionate about, and people ask like, well, are you really that passionate about email marketing? And the thing is, I really just passionate about helping people, and this is just the one way that I have been helping people most consistently for a long time. But outside of that, I actually used to work with people online doing fitness coaching, and and helping people lose weight, get ready for their honeymoon, all that kind of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It was very fulfilling.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I can definitely see how that could be very fulfilling, because you can see, where someone starts at, and then, towards the end of your sessions, or however long you work with them, where they are. Hopefully they're at a better level. That's kind of your goal. So yeah, I can definitely see how that would be really, a really good to see somebody's whole journey like that. Well, thanks again for sharing that. I appreciate that. And lastly, before we do let you go, if any of our listeners and viewers want to reach out to you and pick your brain any more about email marketing, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, the best place is to go to elevateandscale.com and you can schedule a call there.
All right. That's awesome. We'll have that link in the show notes, and I definitely encourage people to check out your website and reach out to you, if they have any further questions. Well, thank you, Kyle, for joining us. It's been an awesome talking to you about email marketing. We really appreciate you coming on to the Email Marketing Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level, but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.